There is a moment in every predator's life where they make a fatal mistake. Usually, that mistake is forensic. They leave a fingerprint, they leave a hair, they leave a drop of blood. But sometimes the mistake isn't physical. Sometimes the mistake is psychological. Sometimes the mistake is looking at a 15-year-old girl and seeing nothing but a victim, seeing nothing but a terrified child who will cry, freeze, and eventually break. They see a target. They don't see a computer. They don't see a warrior. They don't see a girl who is capable of turning off her emotions and turning on her survival instincts with the precision of a machine. Imagine being kidnapped in broad daylight. Imagine being shoved into a plastic storage container in the back of a car. Imagine being taken into a stranger's apartment, handcuffed and held captive by a man who has already killed 3 other girls, girls who were just like you. Most people would shut down. It is the brain's natural defense against trauma. You dissociate, you float away, you wait for the end. But Cara Robinson didn't float away. When she was dragged into that apartment, she didn't just see a prison. She saw a puzzle. And while her captor was sleeping, believing he had total control, believing he had won, Cara Robinson was awake. She was memorizing the names on his pill bottles. She was memorizing the serial numbers on the inside of the storage bin. She was counting the minutes. And then she was using her own teeth to pick the lock that held her wrists. This is the story of the girl who didn't just escape. This is the story of the girl who walked out of that apartment carrying the entire investigation in her memory, solving 3 cold cases, and ending the reign of one of America's most elusive serial killers. If you want to understand what true courage looks like when the lights go out, and if you want to see how one person's refusal to give up can save lives, please hit that subscribe ** button right now. You need to hear this story because it proves that the most dangerous weapon in a crime scene isn't the gun. It's the mind of the survivor. To understand the magnitude of what Cara did, we first have to understand the randomness of the evil that found her. June 24, 2002, Columbia, South Carolina. It was a typical summer afternoon. The sun was blazing. The cicadas were buzzing. Cara Robinson was 15 years old. She was in the front yard of her friend's house, getting ready for a fun day at the lake. She was watering the plants, spraying the hose, enjoying the cool water in the heat. She was wearing a swimsuit and a t-shirt. She was safe. She was in a nice neighborhood. A dark gray Pontiac Firebird pulled up to the curb. The car didn't look threatening. It looked like any other car. The driver rolled down the window. He was a middle-aged man. He didn't look like a monster. He looked like a dad. He looked like a neighbor. He smiled at Cara. He asked her if she had any magazines to sell for school. Cara, being polite, walked a little closer. "No, sorry," she said. "I don't go to that school." The man's demeanor changed in a split second. He opened the car door. He didn't just step out, he launched himself. He pulled a gun. He pressed it against her side. "Get in the car," he hissed, "or I will shoot you right here." This is the moment of paralysis. Your brain tries to reject what is happening. This can't be real. I'm watering plants. This is a joke. But the cold metal of the gun is real. The look in his eyes is real. Cara got into the car. But immediately, the man did something that signaled this was not his first time. He didn't just tell her to duck. He had a system. He forced her into a large, Rubbermaid plastic storage bin in the backseat. He forced her to curl up into a ball inside this plastic box. He snapped the lid shut. Cara was now in total darkness. She was cramped, the air was thin, the smell of plastic was overwhelming. Most teenagers would be screaming. They would be banging on the lid. But Kara Robinson had a thought that would save her life. She thought, if I scream, he will shoot me. If I am quiet, I can listen. She started gathering data. She felt the car moving. She felt the turns. She listened to the radio. She tried to keep track of time. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. She realized they weren't driving for hours. They were staying local. This meant he lived nearby. This meant he felt comfortable here. The car stopped. He opened the lid. He put a gun to her head again. He led her into an apartment complex. But he didn't just drag her. He was careful. He checked to make sure no neighbors were looking. He covered her. He led her into a messy, cluttered apartment. The door closed, the lock clicked. And Kara Robinson was now in the lair of Richard Evonitz. Richard Evonitz wasn't just a kidnapper. He was a serial killer. Years earlier in Virginia, he had kidnapped and murdered 3 girls, Sophia Silva and the sisters Kristen and Caddy Lisk. The police had been hunting for him for years, but they had no leads. He was a ghost. He moved states. He changed his MO. Nobody knew who he was. Until he picked up Kara. Inside the apartment, the psychological warfare began. Evonitz handcuffed Kara. He gagged her. He put her in a chair. But then he started talking to her. He played the role of the nice guy. This is a terrifyingly common tactic among serial killers. They want the victim to feel grateful. They want to create a twisted bond. He told her, "I'm not going to hurt you if you listen to me." He asked her about her life. He asked her about her family. Kara realized quickly, he wants me to be a person. If I am a person, maybe he won't kill me. So she played along. She answered his questions. She didn't cry, she didn't beg. She acted calm, she acted compliant. She made him feel like he was in total control. He became comfortable. He started to let his guard down. He started watching TV. He started eating snacks. He treated her like a guest who just happened to be handcuffed. But while he was watching TV, Kara was watching the room. She was scanning everything. She saw a magnetic clip on the refrigerator. It had the name of a dentist on it. She memorized the name. She saw a stack of mail on the counter. She squinted to read the name on the envelope, Richard Evonitz. She repeated it in her head, Richard Evonitz, Richard Evonitz. She looked at the pill bottles on the table. She memorized the name of the prescribing doctor. She memorized the dosage. She looked at the plastic bin he had transported her in. She saw a serial number stamped on the side. She memorized the numbers. Think about the mental fortitude this takes. She is 15. She has just been abducted. She doesn't know if she will live to see the sunset. But she is collecting evidence like a seasoned detective. As the night went on, Evonitz decided to drug her. He offered her pills. "Take these," he said. "They will help you relax." Kara knew that if she took them, she would fall asleep. And if she fell asleep, she would never wake up. But she couldn't say no. If she fought him, he would use the gun. So she put the pills in her mouth. She pretended to swallow. She drank some water. She opened her mouth to show him it was gone. But she had tucked the pill under her tongue. When he looked away, she spit it out into her hand and hid it between the cushions of the couch. She faked being drowsy. She slumped over. She acted like the drugs were working. Evonitz believed her. He thought she was out cold. He thought he had won. He was tired. It had been a long day of hunting. He took her into the bedroom. He handcuffed her to the bedpost. And then the monster did the one thing he should never have done. He fell asleep. Kara lay there in the dark. She listened to his breathing. In, out, in, out. It became rhythmic. It became heavy. He was asleep. This was it, the window of opportunity. But she was handcuffed. Metal cuffs, ratcheted tight around her wrist and attached to the heavy bed frame. She tried to pull her hand out. It was impossible. Her hand was too big. She tried to twist the chain. It was solid steel. Panic started to rise. The sun would be coming up soon. If he woke up, he would kill her. She knew that. He had told her he was going to take her far away in the morning. Kara looked at the handcuffs. She realized she didn't have a key. She didn't have a paperclip. But she had her body. Kara was small. She was flexible. She maneuvered her body around the bedpost. She managed to get her mouth down to her wrist. She used her teeth. She bit down on the locking mechanism of the handcuffs. It wasn't like in the movies where you pick it with a pin. She was using the force of her jaw and the dexterity of her tongue and teeth to manipulate the metal catch. She worked at it, minutes ticked by. Her jaw ached, her gums bled. But she kept working. Click. One cuff popped open. She froze. Did the sound wake him? She watched Evonitz. He stirred. He grunted. Kara stopped breathing. He rolled over. He kept sleeping. She was free from the bed, but she was still in the apartment. She crept off the mattress. She was terrified that the floorboards would creak. She moved like a ghost. She got to the bedroom door. She opened it inch by inch. She walked into the living room. She went to the front door. It was locked. She undid the deadbolt, click. She undid the chain, clink. She turned the handle. She stepped out into the humid South Carolina night. She didn't run immediately. She closed the door softly behind her. Then she ran. She ran like she had never run before. She ran until her lungs burned. She ran until her legs felt like jelly. She had no idea where she was. She saw a car pulling into the apartment complex parking lot. It was early morning now, just before dawn. She waved her arms screaming, "Help me, he has a gun, help me." The people in the car were terrified. They saw a teenage girl, hysterical, crying, wearing a swimsuit. They let her in. They drove her to the nearest police station. Now, usually, this is where the victim faces skepticism. The police ask, "Are you sure? Maybe it was a boyfriend." But Kara Robinson didn't give them a chance to doubt her. She sat down in that interrogation room, still shaking, and she unleashed a flood of information. His name is Richard Evonitz. He lives in apartment 204. He drives a gray Firebird. There is a gun in the glove box. He has a storage bin with serial number XYZ. He has a doctor named Dr. Smith. He has a dentist named Dr. Jones. The police officers were stunned. They had never seen a victim come in with this much intel. They realized immediately that this was not a prank. This was a crime scene in progress. They rushed to the apartment complex. But they were minutes too late. Richard Evonitz had woken up. He saw the empty bed. He saw the open handcuffs. He knew. He knew that the girl he thought was a helpless child was actually the one who would destroy him. He fled. He got in his Firebird and drove. But he couldn't run from the data Kara provided. The police put out an APB on his car. They tracked him using the information she gave. They chased him all the way to Sarasota, Florida. It was a high-speed chase. Evonitz was cornered. He was surrounded by police cars. He knew there was no way out. He knew Kara's testimony would put him in the electric chair. He put a gun to his own head. And he pulled the trigger. Richard Evonitz died a coward's death. But the story didn't end there. Because Kara had survived, the police were able to search his apartment and his car thoroughly. And what they found in the trunk of his car confirmed their worst fears. They found evidence linking him to the unsolved murders of Sophia Silva, Kristen Lisk, and Caddy Lisk in Virginia. 3 cold cases, 3 families who had no answers, 3 ghosts who had been waiting for justice. Because Kara Robinson memorized the details, the police were able to match fiber evidence and DNA. They officially closed the cases. They told the families, "We found him, he can't hurt anyone else." Kara Robinson didn't just save herself that night. She saved every future girl that Evonitz was planning to take. She ended a spree that had spanned years and states. Today, Kara Robinson Chamberlain is not hiding. She is a mother. She is an advocate. She is on TikTok and social media telling her story to millions of people. She teaches women and girls about situational awareness. She teaches them that it's okay to fight. It's okay to be difficult. It's okay to do whatever you have to do to survive. She often talks about that moment in the apartment. She says she wasn't brave. She says she was just busy. She kept her mind busy with tasks so that the fear couldn't paralyze her. Task 1, memorize name. Task 2, fake sleep. Task 3, pick lock. It is a profound lesson for all of us. Panic is an emotion. Survival is a series of tasks. When you are in the darkest moment of your life, don't look at the whole picture. Look at the next task. Look at the serial number. Look at the lock. Look at the door. Kara proved that a 15-year-old girl is not a helpless victim. She proved that a mind, sharpened by the will to live, is sharper than any knife and stronger than any gun. She walked into the lion's den, and she didn't just walk out. She burned the den to the ground. What Kara did goes beyond survival instincts. It borders on genius. The ability to compartmentalize terror and replace it with data collection is something even trained spies struggle to do. Think about the pill she hid. She had the presence of mind to realize he was watching her throat muscles. That is a level of psychological chess that is terrifyingly brilliant. The legacy of Kara Robinson is not just that she lived. It is that she gave answers to the families of Sophia, Kristen, and Caddy. Imagine being the mother of one of those girls. For years, you wondered who. You wondered why. And then, a 15-year-old girl in South Carolina calls the police and says,